going on, boys? It's Daddy Big here, and welcome back to the podcast. We got Lucas back on. Lucas, you can say hi.
Hi,
And
it's me, Lucas.
it is Lucas. And some of you may know that I work at Jimmy John's, and some of you also may know that Lucas works at Jimmy John's. So
I do.
we thought we'd just sit down and tell some work stories.
Yes, sir.
Then if you want to kick it off, Lucas.
Well, recently, somebody drove into the sign
We're just getting right into it, aren't
at my Jimmy John's, and I wasn't there when it happened, but this is what I heard. So basically, you know the sign that you use to order food if you're doing the drive-through?
we? Yeah.
That one's kind of in shambles at my location.
'Cause it's like made out of plastic, and
Yeah.
like plastic. Like it's not even like a glass screen. It's like a plastic screen.
It hasn't gotten fixed yet. It's been broken for about a month, and a couple times while I was working at Jimmy John's, somebody would go through the drive-thru and just be like, "Hey, have you noticed that your sign's broken?" And we should be like, "No, actually, we haven't." Like, I think some of my coworkers were getting like pretty upset. They're like, "Dude, what do you think? We can see it like through the front window."
Yeah.
Um,
Didn't you say that the guy basically the guy like drove his car like up and like in front of the store and like ran into a picnic table and the sign?
yes.
Didn't you say that he just like did that and then got out of his car to order a sandwich?
He did. He did that. He backed up, parked real nice, and then
Dude was hungry.
yeah. So he drove into the sign, backed up, parked, walked inside, and ordered a sandwich like nothing happened. Now I wasn't there when it happened, but that's what I heard from a few different people,
Yeah.
and that's just really funny to imagine. I wish I would have been working there. That would have been so funny.
Yeah. So, yeah, I feel like there are a lot of those like goofy customer stories, but like, I mean, like, I guess it's like, you always kind of work with goofy customers. That's kind of just how it goes when you work in like fast food or retail,
Yeah.
But it's like, that's just a story where the customer happened to like destroy things. But like, I've kind of had similar stories before. There was one time that this guy came in, and he just like ordered mayo packets. Well, like he had mayo packets, and he was just like squirting them out on our tables. And then
Really?
he cleaned up after himself, but it was just like so bizarre.
That's so weird.
He was with these two women, and basically the two of them came. Well, the two girls, they came in and they were trying to order their food, but they kept like changing their mind. So they were like, "Hey, we're gonna get like a giant 3, or we're gonna," and I was like, "Okay," So then the people I was taking their order, and the people that were making the food would start to make it, because it's like, oh, the person wants this, we'll start to make it for him,
Yeah.
And then like a minute later, they'd be like, actually, I don't know, we want this, So it was like their order changed so many times, and we had made several of them already, so like people were already like pissed off, But like,
Isn't that not allowed? Hadn't they already paid for?
no, they hadn't paid yet. That was the thing. They were just like
Oh.
changing their order, and just because of like how we make the food, like obviously at most restaurants, like when you go to like a sit down restaurant, they'll take your order and then they'll send it back to like the chefs,
Yeah.
Like at Jimmy John's, it all kind of happens at the same time.
Freaky fast, baby.
Yes, sir. But yeah, like because like one thing is like at one point they just wanted to order like fresh bread with Kickin' Ranch.
Like instead of everything else.
Yeah, like just fresh bread with Kickin' Ranch
That's
on the side.
really weird.
So like we had wrapped up the fresh bread for them, and then they changed it back to like a tuna sandwich. So anyway,
Wow.
after a long, and the guy was just like standing outside the store. He wasn't even like in there. So like it was like this whole long process of getting the order, and I was like, woo, that was fun, So they finally get their food. The guy's squirting mayo packets on the table and everything. But then the two girls went back to the bathroom, and with the Jimmy John's bathrooms, at least like in most locations I've ever been to, they're just like single stall, like single room bathrooms,
Yeah.
So like, but anyways, they both went into the same bathroom, and they one thing I wasn't really observant enough to notice this when I was taking their order, but like some other people who I was working with had mentioned like, oh, did you see like they had like their hair was like all wet and like red, because like basically like it looked like they had just like done like a homemade hair dye job. Like just like put red dye in their hair, So they had like dye on their clothes and their arms and stuff.
I think I remember you telling me what happened.
Yeah. So they both went back to the bathroom, and what they did is they started rinsing out the hair dye in our bathroom.
Oh my god.
So
That's so weird.
And it was like fresh hair dye. so it was like actually still like wet. So it like got onto the sink and the floor and everything, and it was like staining our bathroom. So what
Did you have to
happened was,
clean it?
well, my sister, she had actually, luckily enough, she had been cleaning the bathrooms at the time, and they went to go do their thing. And when they left, she went back to resume cleaning the bathrooms, and she immediately saw like, oh, there's a bunch of red everywhere. So she
Yeah.
immediately went and told our boss, and he was like, "What?"
Whole lot of red.
He was, he was like, "We need to get that bleached right now," because he knew like it would stain very quickly if it dried. It's like we did our best to clean it up, but then like at this point he's like, "All right, these people need to get out." And by the time he was able to get on the situation, they were back in the bathroom again. I just remember him like
They were back in the bathroom.
yeah, I just remember him knocking super hard on the door, like, "Hey, you need to leave." That was just one of those stories where it was like, wow. That's luckily like no destruction actually took place because we were able to clean it. But that's just one of those situations, just like, wow, you know.
That's crazy. I feel like you've been working at Jimmy John's. I mean, you have been. You've been working there a lot longer than me.
Yeah, I have.
Because
I've been there for like 2 or 3 years now. It feels like probably more like 2 years.
I started working there this summer, so I don't have
Actually,
much
no, maybe
material.
more like a year and a half or so, but
Year and a half.
close to 2 years now. It feels like it's been a really long time, to be honest.
Gotcha.
But
I
I
think
never held a job this long before, you know. Because I used to work at a greenhouse.
you did?
Yeah, you didn't know this about me?
No.
I worked at a greenhouse.
At a greenhouse?
Yeah.
You in like a greenhouse?
Yeah, with plants.
With plants?
Believe it or not. It was pretty fun, but
I didn't
thing
know
is,
that.
all the people I worked with, like the average age demographic was like 60 to 80, like
Oh
literally.
yeah.
Like there were so many old people, so like because I had a young and spry back, I would just carry stuff around all the time and like do like the manual labor jobs, so that kind of sucked. But yeah, we're not here to talk about botany. We're here to talk about
No, I think
lunch
we should
meat.
change the topic. Like, what was the profound impact that carrying stuff at the greenhouse has had on you?
Well, like the thing with the greenhouse was like, what happened was it was kind of like an inside joke I had where I was like, oh yeah, I love the dirt, because like okay, so like they have like these industrial size dirt things, right?
Yeah.
It's like dirt wrapped in plastic.
Yeah.
But it's like probably like oh, I don't know, let me think about it. Probably like 6 feet by 6 feet on the base, but then like 20 feet tall.
Wow.
Or maybe not that tall. Maybe I'm thinking about like in comparison to my height, like over 10 feet tall. It's like these huge like bricks of dirt.
Yeah.
So you'd like tear up the plastic and like scoop it out and stuff.
Yeah.
And there were 2 dirt machines. We had an entire barn that was basically just for the big one, and you would actually feed an entire thing of dirt into that.
Wow.
Like literally take the entire package and put it in. But I never got to work with that one. But there was like an individual, like a tiny dirt machine that was like made to be operated by like 1 or 2 people. And what you would have to do is you would take a shovel and scoop dirt out of this big plastic thing into the dirt machine. And what it would do is there was a big like corkscrew at the bottom that would like churn up the dirt and like separate it and make it, like make it smoother.
Yeah.
And what you would have to do is pour the dirt in and then pour the water into the dirt to make it like the right amount, because the dirt came like pre-fertilized and you would water it, so it was like ready to go.
Yeah.
So then it would like be churned up and put out this little spout, and there was like a little metal grate, so you would like have to like scoop dirt in, like water it, and then have it be churned up, and it would churn out, and you would usually be preparing like pots and stuff. So like for a while, I usually worked with like oh my god, don't even get me started on geraniums. Geraniums are the worst flowers ever. The geranium, because here's the thing, like, and like I'm sure like all the greenhouses out there like pretty much work the same. It's like we would have these flats, we called them, that was basically just like a tray of like 18 mini pots of flowers, and there would be like one of our greenhouses just had like flats, just like hundreds, probably like at least 1,000 just flats of like geraniums, right? So what we would have to do is we would have to like prune them, and it was the worst.
You had to clip them?
No, like we would have to like pick out the ones that were dying.
Oh.
So like if you saw a dying geranium in the middle, you would have to, like that, like the puzzle game where it's like a 4x4 like grid, and you have 15 tiles and you have to like slide them around to make the picture.
Yeah.
But there's only one open tile at a time.
Yeah.
It's basically like that, except for with trays of flowers. So if you wanted to get to a flower in the middle of like all of the flats, you would have to like push a bunch of rows aside and like make walkways and like jump to get like to a single pot to like replace it. It was just so.
That sounds kind of sick. That sounds like parkour.
Yeah, it was fun for not very long.
Yeah, but the first time you're like, well, this is kind of cool, and then on your second day.
But then what happened was I remember there was one day we went into work and my boss was like, just go like trim the geraniums because they were ready to ship, and literally like, what the thing about geraniums is they get moldy. The leaves literally die and get moldy, so we had to go through hundreds, and I mean we had hundreds of trays. We had to go through thousands of flowers, and like pick off dead leaves that would just like crumble in your fingers.
Wow.
It kind of sucked. But no, like, so I had this like long running joke where I was like, yeah, the dirt machine's sick. I love the dirt machine, you know? So like my boss started to think I actually liked the dirt machine. So it got to the point where literally I would walk into work and he'd just be like, all right, I got a bunch of pots. You can do dirt the whole day. And it sucked because like it wasn't like it was kind of cool for a while. But like the thing is, like, literally, okay, so, like, when you're scooping it up and, like, making it churn and everything, literally, like, the dirt, like, gets, like, you get, like, dirt dust all in the air. And, like, you actually just breathe in dirt and, like, fertilizer.
You're breathing in dirt?
Yeah, because, like, and it happened to be, like, when I worked there, it happened to be during, a large portion of it happened to be during, like, the initial quarantine. And, it was really eerie because, like, I would come into work on like a Saturday and it would be like just me and my boss in the entire greenhouse facility. But like, so like oftentimes I did have a mask on, so I probably wasn't breathing in that bad. But like, I'm convinced that like breathing in the dirt and fertilizer for like decades has like made my boss kind of lose his shit. You know what I mean? I'm convinced that it did. But yeah, you really got me on the whole greenhouse thing. But yeah, like I just got like, I don't know. It just I don't know. It wasn't really the work environment I was looking for, and I was kind of concerned about being around all of that fertilizer all the time, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
because it was one of those situations where like the sink water was like, don't drink it, but you can wash your hands with it.
Oh,
you know, one of those moments.
Yeah, but, I feel like you breathing in dirt and fertilizer and carrying heavy things back and forth a few years ago probably wasn't the greatest for your health.
Probably not.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, Jimmy John's does legitimately come with its own like health risks.
Jimmy John's is fine. What do you mean? The closest health risk I've gotten to Jimmy John's was when my boss had to like clean out the grease gutter.
Oh my god! Don't even
that was disgusting. Yeah. That was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
For those of you who don't know, there's this thing called like restaurant grease. I don't even know where it comes from, but I you know exactly.
No, it comes from the
works?
meats, right?
Does it come from the meats?
Yeah, I think so, because all the stuff drips down from the meat. Or, I don't know, because why would he go there?
I don't know, but basically, like, I think it's just, like, from the sinks, and it's just basically, like, food stuff. And
so gross.
And just, like, grease, and, like, water, and, like, soap, and all our cleaning. It's just, like, every, like, liquid disposable just ends up in this, like, grease trap, and it's, like, this little trapdoor in the ground.
Yeah.
And basically, like, every week we're supposed to clean it out. Like, I never have, because I'm not... Like, neither of us are managers. That's usually a manager thing.
Yeah.
But every week you're technically supposed to clean it out.
I've only seen it cleaned out once.
It's the most awful smell. It's so bad.
It's terrible.
Like, how could you describe it?
Could I describe the smell? Okay, so just imagine you're like standing at the doors of hell, and Satan himself just like flies down, and like eats you. And that's what it smells like.
And then he rips ass.
Yeah.
And that's what the grease trap smells like.
It smells terrible.
Yeah, it's so bad. And like it's like actually repulsing. Like especially when you're working with food and smelling that, it's like not great. But what happened was my store cuz Jimmy John's is a franchise, so like you know like local stores will be like owned by one person and you can like start your own store and that kind of thing. But I don't know exactly the inner workings of how the corporation works, but anyways, my particular store, when COVID hit, you know, obviously business was a lot slower for a while, and my store had to go only to partial hours, and we're still not all the way back up yet.
Yeah.
But so cleaning the grease, because like we have like a list of things we're supposed to do every day of every week, you know. Because like it's like on Tuesdays you do this, on Thursdays you do that,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the extent to which it gets done varies.
Are those the DBs?
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
called daily beautifications.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, we have those too.
cleaning the grease trap is technically something you're supposed to do once a week, but it's a Sunday thing. So when our store wasn't open on weekends for months, our grease trap was never cleaned.
Oh my god.
So one day our area manager came in and was just realized it had never been cleaned, and she had to clean it herself.
Oh.
And it took hours.
Man. Hours?
It took hours.
That's
And
terrible.
I came in and it was so bad. But like the worst part is like we don't even actually have like a real method, like I don't know. I feel like the way I thought it was the only time I've ever seen it done, but it was so scuffed because she literally just took
She
one
just like
of our,
scoops it out, right?
No, she took one of our large drink cups and
What?
scooped that with that.
Oh my god.
That's
terrible.
so scuffed. Like just put gloves on and grab a drink cup and go to work.
That's terrible. Yeah, that's the way I've seen it done. I don't remember what she was using, but my boss just like scooped it out and like put it into like a Ziploc bag or something.
Yeah, we
It
actually
was awful.
I think we used an old pickle bucket for it.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, the grease trap is so nasty.
I've only ever seen it cleaned once.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
But yeah. So those are just I think like the other thing too is some of like the harsh industrial cleaners, you know? Like we use a lot of different stuff that is definitely like you would die if you sniffed too much, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like I feel like you know, like I try to always wear gloves whenever I'm working with like the industrial stuff.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's like the only part of working that's like potentially chemically dangerous is just all the cleaners, you know?
Yeah.
But another thing too is I mean obviously like working with meat and vegetables, we have to work with a lot of sharp stuff, you know, like slicing. And obviously neither of us are high enough in the food chain to be slicing. But at Jimmy John's, we have these I mean at every deli you have to have like a method of slicing the meat.
Yeah.
But how we have like these slicing machines, it's just like a rotary blade.
Yeah.
And you like slide it through. I actually it was crazy. I went to another, I think it was Jersey Mike's that I went to once.
Jersey Mike's.
Yeah. Like since I had started working at Jimmy John's, like obviously, you know, having worked in the sub industry as long as I have, you know, I have like all these certain ideas of like how it's done.
I've never been
like,
to Jersey Mike's.
What they do is they actually they take their meat and they slice it as they make the sub. So like you'll tell them you want roast beef and they'll pull out roast beef and slice a couple slices of it for you.
That's
and put it on
cool.
the sub. And it was kind of cool, but it was also kind of weird because like at Jimmy John's, like we always have to clean the slicer every time when we're putting something different on it. So like if we cut roast beef, slice, not cut. If we slice roast beef, we have to clean the whole slicer before cutting like cheese or before slicing cheese.
Is that for allergies or something?
I think it's just for like cleanliness.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, I guess so.
But that was like at Jersey Mike's, they literally just like, okay, just tossed it on.
It's like pull it up from under the table, just
Yeah,
like
like,
thump
literally.
it on the
Yeah, but
thump it down. Start
like,
start slicing it.
have you ever had any of your coworkers get slicer injuries?
No, have you?
Okay, so like here's the thing, with the slicer, it's one of those things where like, so obviously like if you're like a manager and that's like all you do like all day is like slice, or like that's like a big part of your job, you know.
Yeah.
Obviously it gets boring after a while, and when you have to clean the slicer between every meat you do, that also gets tedious and annoying. So, you know, sometimes like, let's be real, there's a bit of corner cutting, right?
Yeah.
So what people will do is like, you know, you're supposed to clean the blade, obviously, but what they'll do is they'll turn the blade on and clean it while it's like on and rotating. So that way, like, they can just hold like the cleaning solution and the towel up to it, and it'll just like rotate all around.
Yeah,
It'll
yeah.
make it faster.
Yeah, it's like cleaning
Right.
a record.
Yeah. But obviously that presents the risk of there's a very, very sharp blade spinning very fast right next to your fingers. So my boss, one time he cut one of his fingers, like, cause he was like, and the thing is like, it's literally meant to cut like hard deli meat, you know?
Yeah.
It's like your finger doesn't stand a chance.
How bad was
He
it?
cut, I don't remember if it was his thumb or his like index finger, but he cut one of his fingers like all the way down, like just like for like grazing it for a second. He cut his finger like, I think down to the bone.
Oh my! Down to the bone?
Yeah. And like he was like bleeding nonstop, and like it was one of those situations where like he was literally like bleeding so bad. He was like, okay, I guess I still got to try to work, you know.
Wait, but didn't he get blood all over the blade?
Yeah, well, he had to like clean it again, but like he had to like wrap it in gauze like a million times and like put a bunch of gloves on and like just try to keep working, you know.
Why didn't he go to like the hospital or
Because
something?
he's nutty.
Man, that's crazy.
But yeah, it's like, so I feel like Jimmy John's probably isn't as dangerous as like working in a greenhouse would be. But those are just a couple examples
It
of
has
like,
its moments.
yeah, for sure. And like, no, other than that, I feel like it's a pretty safe workplace environment, you know.
Yeah, you just have to add that at the end. Like, yeah, it's pretty safe there.
Oh yeah, I never feel like I'm like in danger, like just like doing my job.
Yeah.
You know. But,
Yeah. I've never had like anybody get injured at my store before.
Subway though, you gotta watch out. Do you hear that story about how someone put the bread knife in the Subway sandwich that they served to someone?
You're joking.
Like, dude was literally so baked. That's the only possible explanation.
Oh my! I have not had Subway since I moved here.
Dude, Subway is... Don't even get me started. I feel like it's kind of garbage. I don't like it.
Like, I don't know. My family used to eat it like addictively when my sister and I were like younger, and then we just stopped one day.
Yeah.
Like
Dude,
we stopped eating it and we boycotted it basically.
Like literally, I remember like when I was like way younger, it was actually kind of funny looking back because I remember like my dad would take me to Subway and I would be like, I want to make subs someday. I want to work at Subway. My dad was like, yeah, you can give me discounts. But then I ended up working at Jimmy John's. So it's actually kind of funny that on you know, like a lot of kids dream of being like a cop or like a baseball player. I dreamed of making subs.
Seriously?
I actually,
I always dreamed of being one of those like people who works at like hibachi places.
Oh really?
Yeah, like I'd be like, you know, like flipping the eggs and making the rice and everything. That's like pretty cool.
Yeah, but like I don't know. I feel like as a kid, there was nothing better than walking into a Subway and like smelling all of like
Subway
the smells.
smells really good.
Subway does smell pretty good.
I haven't smelled a Subway in 5-6 years.
Other than that, Subway's dog shit. 0 out of 10. I'll give it a 1 out of 10, I guess.
What if Subway sees this video?
What if Subway? What if Subway?
Yeah, what if the
video?
Subway Corporation sees this video?
I don't know.
Yeah, you'll be hosed then. But okay, so back to Jimmy John's.
Yeah, circle back around to actually telling some work stories.
one time this guy walks in and he orders. Okay, so he's talking to my manager and he's like, "Yo, I want 15 giant subs."
Oh my lord!
And
you told me. We've heard all of these.
And he couldn't.
Back and forth, but...
And he didn't call ahead of time. He just walked in and ordered them. And my manager was like, "I'm sorry, but we cannot do that." And he points behind her to the bread rack and is like, "But you got all that bread." And she says, "Yeah, but that's for the whole day. We can't just like use it all for this one order." And then he got like really upset and he wouldn't leave. So he made him his 15 giants and he just stared at us angrily from one of the booths.
Oh my gosh, the angry,
as we made
the
him.
Customer rage.
Yeah, his eyes were like on fire. He was so upset. And then we like gave them to him and he just like stormed out. He didn't say thank you or anything. Not that he like held up the entire line or something. Like it was a pretty busy day. It wasn't like a lunch rush or anything, but there was a good line of people and we were just all making his 15 giants and they were all different too. They were like giant favorites.
That's garbage.
Yeah.
But dude, I had an angry customer one time who and the thing is like there are so many people who don't know how to order from Jimmy John's.
Oh, that's always
and,
so
like,
funny.
Because I guess our menu is kind of confusing because like again, I'm sure this is universal, but like on a menu to be like it'll be a little star that says like 1, pick your size.
Yeah.
And then like 2, pick like whatever, you know. So like it's supposed to give you like a step-by-step outline of how to order. But a lot of times people will just be like it's always funny when someone's like, Can I get the giant? And we're like, the giant what? And you're like, and they're just like, the giant, the one up there. And we're like, what do you mean? Like, what? Because like the giant is a size, not a sub,
yeah,
you know?
exactly.
So we're like, what giant? And they're just like, the one in the picture. And it's like, bro, we don't know what that one is.
Yeah.
We're like, what meat do you want? And they're like, turkey. It's just like, so it's like sometimes you have to like hold people's hands and like try to, and like, okay, there's that phrase that the customer is always right. That's so not true. Customers are wrong all the time because the Jimmy John's menu is like so nebulous and confusing and like so bullshit sometimes. Because like here's the thing, it's like there are some like I want to make a video someday where like make a sub tier list and like actually break down.
That would be amazing. We should absolutely make a sub tier
and
list.
we could do it together.
Yeah, actually. Yeah, we should
because we could mix.
That'd be great because we have the menu memorized. Yeah,
but no, that's something I've wanted to do for a long time is to like make a menu tier list because I think it would be really funny.
Yeah.
But But like there are some subs that just like literally are worse than others, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's like one example is like, I mean like the number 12 comes with 2 slices of cheese and avocado and turkey, which are all paid items, and then something like the number 16 comes with just turkey and bacon.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, it's like, or one really good example too is the fact that this one's really funny. So the number 17 Ultimate Porker comes with ham and 3 slices of bacon, right?
Yeah.
And the number 13 Jimmy Cubano comes with cheese, ham, and 4 slices of bacon. And those subs are the same price.
Yep.
And granted, they do have a lot of wildly different ingredients, but because all the other different ingredients are free to change, you can order a 13 and like keep the bread in, add lettuce, tomato, no pickles, and you'll have yourself a 17 with more bacon than normal and cheese for the same price.
Well, I mean, to be fair, like the customer's not gonna analyze the menu.
Well, yeah, I know, but like I'm just saying, like the Jimmy John's menu is so unbalanced.
Yeah,
it's so funny.
that's true.
But it's like, it's just like there'll be times when people will order something and it's just like so erroneously a bad way to order something. You know, like I'll have times when people order, it's so dumb. I've seen people that have ordered like a number 6, which is the veggie, which comes with like cheese and avocado and that's it.
Yeah.
And people order like a veggie, easy cheese, no avocado, add salami. And I'm like, bro, there's a sub for that.
Yeah.
It's like so dumb.
Yeah, that's always
like,
pretty funny.
Like it's just like those moments. And like obviously like there are times when people don't realize that they're not ordering like it's like one of my exes actually.
One of the several.
hey no. That's a different topic. But she would her order was a number 12, no cheese because she was lactose intolerant. But I told her, I was like, "Hey, you should get the number 4, add avocado because that would be cheaper." You know, it's just like little things like that. But there are sometimes when customers just like don't know how to order. You know what I mean? And it's like, other than like can I get the one in the picture? It's like, getting back on like the whole angry customer thing. There was one time a customer came in, and sometimes people just think we're a Subway. You know, so they'll be like, "Hey, let me get a sub with turkey." You know?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah,
so,
there's like
then we're like, okay, so the number 4, and then we start making it, and as I'm making it. Okay, let me get specific. So this guy was like, I don't remember what stuff it was. For the sake of it, we'll just say it was like a 4. He was like, all right, let me get a sub with turkey. I was like, okay. And we were like, is that going to be it? And he was like, yeah. So then we took his money and everything, you know, got that. And basically like, I was the one making the sub, right? And I think my manager took the order, so he was kind of like standing there watching the whole time.
Yeah.
And I was starting to make it, and as I was making it, he'd be like, oh, hey, can you add a little extra cucumber? Or hey, can you add some onion? And I was like, sure. You know, so I would like you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to just like order your entire sub so we can make it, you know?
Yeah.
But like if someone says like, oh, hey, could you add some sauce? It's like, yeah, sure.
Like
whatever.
those are freebies. That's
yeah, exactly. If it's free and it's not a big deal, it's like, oh yeah, you wanted sauce, whatever, who cares, you know? But there'll be people who would just like be like watching like craning their neck around the table to like watch you make their entire sub and be like, oh hey, could you add a little more of that, a little less of that, you know? And it's like, bro, I'm doing my job, you know? But like this guy was like taking it to the next level. He was like, oh hey, can you like, I think it was like, yeah, he was just like telling me to add a bunch of stuff like when I was further along in the process, so I had to like go back and take stuff off and put it back on.
Really?
And I remember I had made the whole sub and like I was ready to wrap it, and he was like, you think you could actually add mayo to that? I think it was like the 5 or something. It didn't have mayo. Yeah, it must have been that, because I remember he specifically said, "Oh, could you add mayo?" And my manager was like, at this point, I was like, okay, you know, I can do it. But my manager was like, hey man, you know, that's not how we roll around here. You know, you got to tell us that stuff before we make your entire sub. You know, he was trying to be diplomatic about it. He was maybe a little annoyed, but he was basically just like, hey man, listen, you can't be like telling us that now.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh well, it's a good thing I already paid, because otherwise I'd walk. And my manager was just like, okay. It's like, what does that guy think he was going to accomplish? He was literally just like, yeah, good thing I paid, otherwise I'd leave. Like, okay, we don't care. You know what I mean? It's just like, that was just like such a goofy guy. Like, what? You know?
One time, I think this is the first and only time I've ever picked up a phone order, and I was terrified.
Yeah.
What time are we at, Cameron?
We're at 30 minutes.
Okay. This will be the last story.
No, we can keep going. I still have plenty of stories to tell. Or we can always make a part 2, maybe.
That is true. Yeah, we could make a part 2.
But,
yeah. The other YouTuber who has made a series on him working at a
at a sub restaurant.
At a sub
Made several
restaurant
parts.
has made several parts.
A multitude of parts.
Um,
We're not working at Suaboy. We're at Jimmy.
Exactly.
But yeah, maybe we can wrap it up like a nice little sub pretty quick here.
Okay, so I was taking a phone order, and I have no idea what to do, and it's like this old lady, and I expect, like, I'm being walked through how to do it, like, I'm gonna put in the order, and then she's just like, she's asking me what's on each of our subs. She's like, could I get a sub with pickles? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, okay, what if I wanted pickles and turkey? And I was like, yeah, you could do that, ma'am. And then she was like, hey, but do you have one with cheese too? And she just kept going through like each ingredient. And I was like, yes, ma'am, this is in fact a Jimmy John's. We have all those ingredients. And then she's like, okay. And if I like went to the drive-thru, could I like order it there in the drive-thru? And I was like, yeah, of course. That's what it's there for. And then she was like, okay, I'll be there in 15 minutes. And I was like, okay. And then I think I said see ya because I didn't know what to do. I was just like, see ya. And I hung up. And I told my coworker, like, that probably wasn't the right thing to say. And he was like, oh, no, that's probably what I would say. And he's been working there like years.
Yeah. But, yeah, taking photo orders is always a good one. The kind of a similar story. I had like just gotten into work. I was just clocking in, and one of my coworkers was taking an order. And she was a driver, so like she didn't know the menu terribly well, didn't really make sandwiches. Like one of those drivers that doesn't really make stuff.
Exactly.
Like there are the drivers that actually know what they're doing in the store, and the other ones that just kind of stand there and wait for a delivery.
Yeah.
But she was taking a phone call, right? And so the person on the line must have been like, "Hey, do you have?" They were like same thing, like asking about different sub ingredients, asking like, "Hey, do you have a sub with like roast beef and ham?" Is what it was. And she was like, "Oh, I don't know, And literally, she turned took the phone off her ear and like held it to her chest and like whipped around and grabbed my wrist. It was like, "Do we have a sub with roast beef and ham?" And I was like, the 8." And then she was so intense. She was like, "Do we have?" Like she gritted teeth, yelling at me. And then she just went back to the phone. She's like, "Yeah, we have the number 8." And I was like, "Oh my god, bro, that was scary." But
that's really funny.
Yeah. But I could literally talk about Jimmy John's for another 30 minutes. We're definitely have to make another.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to make a part 2.
Yeah, I think we should.
But
close this video up. Wrap it up.
Wrap
and
it
tight.
Up. Nice and tight. Fold the edges in first.
Oh yes, sir.
But yeah, that I don't know. This was like fun.
Fun.
We did get a little sidetracked with the greenhouse, and we didn't tell as many like specific stories.
We'll do that next time.
Yeah, part 2.
Stay tuned for a part 2.
Stay tuned for part 2. We'll just like hit a bunch of different works, like just stories, and just tell.
Maybe I'll try to work there in between, see if I can get anything, because I haven't worked there in a while.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, thanks for listening, boys. I'll see you in the next one.
Bye.